I, 30 female, have been engaged to my fiance Mark, 32 male, for about a year, and we've been together for 3 years. I've always known Mark to be a bit unconventional. He's very creative and sometimes takes things too far in the name of surprise or excitement. I love his adventurous spirit most of the time, but this time, not so much. We had a small get-together with some close friends a few weeks ago to celebrate our upcoming wedding. Mark had mentioned that he had a surprise for me, which I figured would be something sweet like a heartfelt gift or a romantic gesture. Well, as the night went on, after a few drinks, Mark finally revealed his gift. He pulled out what looked like a box from a special jewelry store. My heart raced with excitement as I assumed it was a lovely bracelet or a special memento for our wedding day. But when he opened the box, I was absolutely stunned. Inside was a key to a house he supposedly bought for us. I was taken aback because I had no idea he was looking for real estate. My first reaction was shock and confusion, as I thought it was a huge decision we should have discussed together. As I processed the moment, I realized the house wasn't just any house. It was a fixer-upper on the outskirts of town. Now I understand it can be a great investment, but this house needed a ton of work. I'm talking major renovations and repairs, and I honestly had no desire to live there. Mark had not consulted me before making this purchase, and I felt blindsided. Normally, I'd be overjoyed about investing in our future together, but the fact that he'd made such a significant commitment without me crushed me. I quietly took the key and told him we needed to discuss this. As we stepped outside, I expressed how hurt I felt that he'd made such a big decision without discussing it with me first, and that it felt like a violation of trust. Mark got defensive and insisted that this was a wonderful surprise, a way for us to start our lives together. He said I missed the bigger picture and should be excited about our future. Honestly, I just felt overwhelmed and confused. I told him I didn't think we were ready for this and that we should focus on our wedding first. After a heated argument, I made the gut-wrenching decision to call off the wedding. Mark was devastated and our friends were shocked. I just ruined what was supposed to be a happy night and I felt horrible. Since then, Mark has been trying to reach out, saying he wishes we could talk it over, but I can't shake the feeling that he disrespected my feelings and my input in our relationship. I've been reflecting on whether I overreacted. Am I the idiot for calling off the wedding after his surprise gift? Here's this house you'll never own that you can pour all your free time and money into. I love you. Get out of here. Not the idiot, and most likely you aren't on the title if you already purchased it. Mark only looking out for Mark is a terrible way for Mark to embark on marriage with another human person. I've been there, and let me tell you, it was terrible. I left a year ago, and I'm still coming to terms with the amount of effort, love, and resources I put into a home I thought I would be in for the rest of my life. And now it's his to impress his next partner. 0 out of 10 would not recommend it. Terrible judgment on Mark's part, but what I find the real problem here was his response when you pointed out the obvious. He argued with you. The light bulb did not go on with him, and you don't make decisions like this without the other person. This is a sign that he will surprise you with a new puppy, his brother moving into your house, that he's quit his job and taken out a loan to start a family business, and then argue with you when you say that this should have been discussed prior. I agree that, in the end, this may not be the last big surprise he gives. You'll be blindsided that he quit his job and invested all your crypto money. OP, here's my story. I'm divorced now, but when my ex-husband and I were married, we lived in an apartment together. We wanted to move into a house and he found one with whom he fell in love. I disagreed. It needed way too much work. Didn't have central heat or air, only had a wood stove, and smelled awful because the previous tenants had let their hunting dogs stay locked in one of the rooms. The owner had a large area where we weren't allowed in because he had things stored there, etc. He agreed with the owner to have us move in anyway without telling me. I told him he at least needed to get everything in writing. We were supposed to be doing rent to own. The owner was a wealthy man but told us we could pay a reduced amount if we fixed up the property. I had concerns about this because we had a 1-year-old at the time and both worked full-time, opposite shifts. We were also living paycheck to paycheck. Well, he didn't get anything in writing, he just got the keys and started fixing it up himself, again without telling me. We ended up putting way too much money into this house and only ended up living there for about a year. Our relationship never really recovered after that. I posted this to say, never stay with somebody who is willing to do whatever they want without consulting you. It doesn't work, and you will always resent them. My ex, 27 male, and I, 26 female, split 2 years ago. We met through my best friend who worked in the same theatre as him then, and the reason we broke up was because he didn't think we were working anymore. It was pretty amicable, I didn't put up a fight or anything. Still, I strongly believed there was no reason for us to be friends anymore. That always causes problems. But I'm still friendly with his friends and I make small talk if I run into his parents. We live in a close-knit environment. Don't ask me how we live in a city, but most of my friends and his come from either the same university or have a common hobby, or we roam around the same circles, and we definitely see each other once or twice a couple of months. My ex has a fiancé now, and I'm happy for them. I'd never met her, and until now, I thought this didn't matter. We're all adults, or so I believed. One of his closest friends, Peter, just bought a house. I'm friends with his girlfriend, and we're both invited to the housewarming. I didn't think anything of it, however my ex texted me yesterday, after a year, albeit very politely, that maybe I could skip the housewarming as he was bringing his fiancée and she would feel uncomfortable. I was pretty weirded out by his wording, so I called him. He said his fiancée feels uncomfortable that I would be anywhere close to him. They both feel that I sometimes intrude into their social gatherings just to prove I'm better than her to his friends. I got pretty angry hearing him say these things, and I asked him in what way. We're not friends, and I stopped hanging out with his friends the moment we broke up so as not to make things difficult for him. There were a lot of people in his group I became close to, but I stepped away just so that things weren't awkward for any future partner. And how was it my fault? My ex explained 2 of his friends didn't like or respect his girlfriend and thought her an airhead, and so did his parents. Our circles are, I admit, full of literature and theatre people, and I admit some of them can be pretentious. Again, I told him that was him being a spineless boyfriend and not my problem. I told my ex strongly that both Peter and his girlfriend were my friends, that I would be going to their housewarming, and that his relationship issues were not my problem. I blocked him now, and his fiancée sent a long text saying how she was sorry, but now I was apparently being vindictive. How did it matter if I didn't go to a housewarming? She asked me not to make any drama and to please respect her. I didn't reply and blocked her. My friends are angry at my ex, and I haven't told my friend or Peter about it yet. I think maybe I could have handled it in any other way. Am I the idiot? Update. Peter is one of those people who doesn't like her. Our circle is mainly filled with people who mix within a specific type of bookish thinking people. Peter and mother of my ex's friends think she's anti-intellectual. Most of my ex's friends are like that, theatre people or really pretentious idiots. Peter doesn't like her more because he thinks my ex was stupid to break up with me and couldn't handle it if I was doing better than him. Their friendship is already on thin ice, and I don't want to be the reason it breaks. I, 34 male, have been telling my wife for years I did not want more children. We have a pre-tween boy who's autistic and requires extra attention, and a preschool girl whose personality makes her a handful. After the birth of our son and finding out he was autistic, I decided more kids probably wouldn't be in our future. He was non-verbal basically until the end of kindergarten, and again just requires extra attention if we want any hope of him being able to have any sort of life after my wife and I are gone. I was already pressured into giving her our daughter. We fought and fought about it, and I ultimately caved in. After our daughter was born, I resented her for a while. That passed in a few weeks, and I finally let my love for her show. Now, 4 years later, I'm in the same scenario. My wife wants another child, but I do not. Kids are exhausting and expensive, and they require a level of attention that I sometimes struggle with. Not only that, I feel we're not financially stable. We live with my in-laws, so granted we aren't very hard off. We just don't have any hope of ever getting a place of our own, as we live in probably the most expensive state in the US. My $80,000 a year here doesn't do much. On top of that, she refuses to think of a life away from her mom and flat out denies any sort of idea that requires us to move and start our own life. She says she doesn't want to be away from her mom because she won't live forever. Keep in mind, I'm 1,600 miles away from my closest family members, and I go years without seeing them, and that breaks my heart. Am I the idiot for not wanting another child with my wife? Not the idiot. I would seriously evaluate your relationship. What is being done for you? You live with her mother because she demands it. You can't move because she demands it. You have 2 kids because she demands it. A marriage should be a partnership, and kids should be a 2-yes decision, uncoerced. You are living in an authoritarian regime, my friend, and it sounds like you're responsible for funding it too. That doesn't sound healthy or sustainable. I completely agree. Seriously, this woman is being selfish. 2 kids, one with special needs, and she wants another? That's insane. He needs to protect himself and his family. This isn't about being a bad husband, it's about self-preservation. And yes, he needs to see his family. This whole situation is toxic. He needs to prioritize his own well-being. You are the idiot. I have zero time or respect for any man who says he doesn't want to have a child but hasn't done the incredibly obvious thing of getting a snip. Take your responsibility, OP. 8 years you've said you don't want more children, and for 8 years you haven't taken the initiative to handle this the simplest way possible. Roughly more than a year ago, my mother introduced me to her boyfriend. Since then, I, 20 male, and my 3 siblings, nearly adult female, tween female, and pre-tween female, have been introduced to his 3 kids, and our families have been merged. Though we still live in separate homes, his family is over at our house all the time, but it's very obvious he's purposely leaving my other older sibling and me out of the family plans. Last year during Thanksgiving, I was informed 3 days before that all of his kids, including his adult child and my 2 younger siblings, along with my mother, were going to meet our grandparents 6 states over. My older sibling and I were whiplashed as we didn't have enough time to pull together funds or time off to join them. We brought this up to our mom and she simply said she guessed we could join them next time and she thought we knew. That left my sibling and me alone for a week during Thanksgiving, during which we each just ended up going to a family member's house whom we don't see often. We were both very hurt by this incident and brought to each other's attention how many family trips they've had, whether it's a weekend thing or not, without inviting us or telling us until the day of. We were told to be sure to get his kids gifts for Christmas as they're now our siblings. Having to get gifts for 3 people who we aren't even close to really was terrible, but my sibling and I begrudgingly did so. I don't remember how it got brought up today, but I found out his kids weren't getting any of my siblings' gifts, not even the adult, despite them all having jobs. This really made me angry and I lashed out at both of them, specifically my mother's boyfriend. I told him I don't care about him or his kids, but if he wants to play family, he's not playing the father act well. He retorted that he doesn't need to share his life with adult kids, and to him we're just our mom's past. I'll admit I got nasty after this, telling him his kids are baggage enough, my mother doesn't need any more kids, and I'll never look at his spoiled rotten brats as family. This seemed to really hurt my mom and she started crying. Her boyfriend screamed at me to leave, so I did. I'm staying at a friend's right now, but I'm wondering if I went too far. I don't care if I was the idiot to the boyfriend, I already know that part, but was I an idiot to my mom in this way too? I just don't want her to forget that she has 2 kids who still see her as their mother, and she can't just forget they exist because her boyfriend won't acknowledge us. Edit, I pay half the rent and half the household expenses in the house with my mother, and without me we wouldn't be housed. I think everyone knows how expensive it is to live on your own right now, let alone with 3 kids, excluding myself. My name's on the lease. Not the idiot, but your mum needs a reality check. You pay half the rent and half the bills, and this new dude comes and stays at your house with his children all the time, and then he's got the nerve to yell at you to leave the house you pay for? Nope, 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 nope. Shut that crap down right now. Firstly, the boyfriend's not on the lease, and if he and his children are there, they need to pay. Also, this dude needs a reminder of who's on the lease and who is paying the rent. You need someone with your mum to sit down and have a serious chat, because there's no way it's even remotely fair for you to be forking out half of everything and then being treated like you don't even matter. Mum needs to be reminded that she has children and they're supposed to be her priority, not some angry guy she's dating. Right? If anyone should leave, it should be her boyfriend. If OP pays bills and rent, they can't legally make him leave. Your mom and her boyfriend can foot all of the bills themselves. Get your stuff out and don't give your mother another dime. OP is here wondering if they were an idiot because Mum shed a few crocodile tears, while Mom is the biggest idiot here. She let her oldest 2 be ignored for about a year, isn't bothered by how her shiny new boyfriend treats them, but gets all upset when OP pushes back. The minute boyfriend said her kids are the past should have been the last time anyone heard from that jerk. Your mother needs a wake-up call. Update. I came home early this morning to talk with my mom when her boyfriend left. I took a lot of your advice and told her that leaving me and my sibling out is not blending the family in any manner. I feel like my home is being invaded despite my significant contribution. According to my mom, her boyfriend didn't spend the night because they had their own fight. My mother made it very clear that she was ignorant of everything we felt, whether it was on purpose or not. Still, she started crying last night, not only from what I said, but everything her boyfriend had said as well. A big part of their talk after I left was discussing me and my sibling. She didn't tell me everything they said, but they will be taking time away from each other for a little while, as my mom agreed that at some point he can't just leave me and my siblings out. But she also feels I was rejecting him and his kids early on along with my siblings, and it's why she didn't invite us to a lot of things, because she didn't want to put us in uncomfortable situations. This led me to bringing up the fact that I pay half the rent and I would prefer from now on they go over to his house in the future, and how I need to see respect from him and his kids and not treat me like a ghost in a house I contribute towards. She understood and said that she wouldn't be seeing him for a while. This then ended with her sobbing again that at some point I would be getting married and the kids needed a father. Our dad died roughly 6 years ago due to a terminal illness. At this point my parents were already separated, but since then my mom has only had flings, nothing serious. And the older I get, the more she fears I'll leave her in the dust and she'll have no one to help her with my siblings or the future. My mother said multiple times that she couldn't expect me to live with her forever and take care of her at the drop of a dime. She's been wanting a full-time companion for a long time for stability and companionship. By this point, she had to leave for work and we decided to put a pin in the conversation. I thank everyone for their advice and consideration of my story. I still feel like an idiot, but I feel a little less terrible setting the boundaries I did, and as you all said, I should have done it sooner. Thank you. I appreciate it.